Hi everyone, this is Mindy for My Favorite Things. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be creating a little scene using this cute little boutique storefront die set. Here's a quick look at the little boutique storefront die set. I'm also going to be using the tall trees. They pair nicely together. And then I have a few different sheets of cardstock, including cotton candy, vintage timber, craft, cement, and sour apple. And I'm just trimming out little pieces that I need to fit each individual die set. Once I have all of my pieces die cut, I'm going to lay them out on a piece of white cardstock just to get a feel for how this is looking so far. And I thought it would be really cute to add this little kitten that looks like it's sleeping. It comes from the stamp set Over the Rainbow. So I stamped it in the MFT Extreme Black ink, and then I'm coloring it with my Copic markers. I'm doing the body in some light grays, so it's fading off into white. And then I'll do the ear and the tail in some darker shades of gray, and I'll just add a little bit of light gray shading to the feet so that it looks like there's little white paws. So it's a gray kitten with these cute little white paws. And then I'll use the coordinating die to die cut the image out. For my die cut pieces, I could have left them just plain cut out of the colored cardstock, but I wanted to add just a little bit of shading to it. So here I have some of the pieces that are going to go for the trees. I started with Mold Lawn Distress Oxide ink, but it just matched too well with Soured Apple. So I'm going to bring in Lucky Clover and just add it to one side of this circle tree. There's a couple other pieces where I went all the way around. So just depending on the shape and where I wanted some shadow areas to lie. And I'm just holding these with my finger and using a mini blending tool or a sponge dauber or finger dauber to add that color. Now this is where a sticky mat would have come in really handy, but I don't have one quite yet. After I added all the shading to my trees, I'm going to clean up my glass surface, and then I'm going to bring in the top of my boutique storefront. Now that one I die cut out of cotton candy cardstock, so I'm going to add some picked raspberry just to the very top. Now that all of my die cut pieces have some shading to them, I can start kind of gluing them together so I know how my scene is going to fit on the front of a card. Starting with my storefront here that is cut from cement gray, I'm just adding that roof to the very top with some liquid glue. And I'm also working on a slick surface. This is, I think it's like a tonic mat that comes with the glass media mat. I like working on that with liquid glue because it's really easy to clean up any excess glue. Here are my trees. That reminded me of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse trees. I added them right to the green pieces that I cut and shaded. And then we have this cute little planter that I'm adding with the liquid glue, and it's very helpful to have tweezers or some sort of pickup tool because these pieces do get quite small. Now, even though this piece is really quite small, I thought it was super cute. So I have my pot die cut out of just that timber cardstock, that vintage timber, and then my green piece on top. Super, super cute. So here's a look at what I'm envisioning for my scene. And I wanted to add a little bit of ink blending, not a lot. So I have a piece of white cardstock here, 80 pound, that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I masked off the bottom portion with some 2-inch Post-it tape, and I'm bringing in tumbled glass with a blending brush, just really soft, not going up too high. I removed that Post-it tape, lined it up with the bottom of that tumbled glass, and now I'm ink blending on pumice stone. So this is going to give kind of the look of a cement sidewalk that would be in front of my boutique. And then before I go too much further, I'm going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment here at the very top of my card. I'm stamping it in Extreme Black ink, and this is from the Happy Mail stamp set. Now I can go ahead and start assembling my scene. Now before I had stamped the sentiment, I did trim this panel down to about 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I already have it the size that I want it to be. And now I can bring in my boutique and the trees. Now the cat and the trees, I am going to add foam squares too because they are in the most front of my card scene that I have going on. And I did also trim off the trees a little bit. They were a little too tall for my storefront, so I just trimmed that off with some scissors. And I do have also on the back of this panel, I lined it with a piece of a double-sided foam. So there's adhesive on both sides of the foam. I just trimmed it down to fit my panel. So this is going to add dimension in the front of my card. Now that I have all my elements put on here to create my scene, I'm going to add this to a card front that I created from cotton candy cardstock because it matches the top of my boutique, and that is cut to 4¼ by 5½. So I just removed the release paper from that double-sided foam and lining it up, making sure that my margins are all nice and even around the edge. Another idea I had after I finished putting this card together is I think it would have been really cute to put vellum behind that main window piece on the storefront. I think that would have just added a little bit more interest to it. That finishes up my card project for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for stopping by.